This is a WhatsApp message I got from my sister a few days ago, and it sums up much of what Holy Week is about. One day, a man went to visit a church. He got there early, parked his car, and got out. Another car pulled up near the driver, got out and said, "I always park there. You took my place." The visitor went inside for Sunday school, found an empty seat and sat down. A young lady from the church approached him and stated, "That's my seat. You took my place." The visitor was somewhat distressed by this rude welcome, but said nothing. After Sunday school, the visitor went into the sanctuary and sat down. Another member walked up to him and said, "That's where I always sit. You took my place." The visitor was even more troubled by this treatment, but still he said nothing. Later, as the congregation were praying for Christ to come among them, the visitor stood up and his appearance began to change. Horrible scars became visible on his hands and on his sandaled feet. Someone from the congregation noticed him and called out, "What happened to you?" The visitor replied, as his hat became a crown of thorns and a tear fell from his eye, "I took your place." So this Easter season, let us remember who took our place. Now, that little clever meditation has a play on words. It has a double meaning. The main message, of course, is about Good Friday and Jesus, who took on the burden of our sins and made atonement by his sacrificial death. And as such, Jesus took our place, we the guilty. And to make full sense of this, we need to have a proper understanding of sin. St. Paul says that the wages of sin are death. So when he says basically that the penalty or the consequences or the punishment of sin is death. Not necessarily physical death, but certainly spiritual death, which separates us from God and brings condemnation. And when we reflect on all of the terrible things that Jesus had to suffer on Good Friday, we are faced with the consequences of our sins, which he took on our behalf. And the reason why we have to work a little bit at a right understanding of this and being able to make the right connections is that we live in a time that has largely lost its sense of sin, to use an expression of John Paul II. We are caught up in this mentality of I'm okay and you're okay. And because of that, we have to really think hard about the true ugliness of sin and what Jesus had to do in order to redeem us. We are reminded of this core truth every time at Mass, because in a few moments I will repeat the words of the Last Supper. Jesus said, "This is my body given, sacrificed for you. This is the cup of my blood poured out for the forgiveness of sins."